How we doing, guys?
Good. Wonderful. Can you talk a little bit about what Amari Cooper did in practice yesterday, and will he do a little bit more today as far as you incorporate him?
Yeah, he practiced. He was involved in individual. We got him into some teamwork, and we anticipate the same thing today.
How much of an advantage is the open week with this, or does it make that much difference, really?
Well, I think it helps. You just have more time on task, and it's a crash course regardless. But when you have more days and just more time to be together, I think that just gives him a better chance to learn things and be that much more ready to play next week.
What have you noticed about his ability to learn in the short time he's been around?
He's a football guy. There's no question about that. He knows football. He understands football. He picked things up quickly. Again, he broke the huddle with us, ran plays, didn't seem to have a lot of issues. There'll be a lot more stuff coming as we go here, but he's certainly into it. He's engaged, and again, football smart, and handled the work well yesterday.
Like, he's a slot guy, so is Cooper. How do you try to manage that?
Yeah, we don't necessarily view Amari as a slot guy. We view him as a receiver. You see him play outside, you see him play inside, you see him play in the slot. So, like we try to do is we try to move guys around and put them in the optimum spot to utilize their abilities and help us be a better team. So each of those guys are capable of doing both of those things.
When you bring someone in at this stage of the season, do you just, for lack of a better term, throw them into the system and go, or do you feel that you need to kind of talk and make sure he's on the same page and what you expect, or do you really have time to do something like that?
Yeah, just step-by-step teaching. It's as simple as starting with, okay, this is the personnel groups. This is what we call these guys. When we say this word, these are the guys that are in the game. Okay, this is what the formations look like. Hopefully it's systematic and you can pick things up because we can present it in a simple way. You can present comprehensive information simply. Obviously, he's not going to get it all in the first day, but you start down that process. And, there are a number of different exceptions in any system. So you want to teach the system first, and as you go, he'll ask questions. Well, what about that? Well, okay, that's one of the exceptions that you have. In any part of your system, you have those things. So you work on getting the big things out there where he has an understanding of that, and then you work through the details and the nuances and the exceptions, and hopefully he picks it up as he goes. And again, very engaged, very into it. He's a football guy, and picked things up well on day one.
How quickly do you think when you guys break the huddle, opposing defenses are going to know where he is?
I think he's that kind of a player. He's demonstrated that early on in his career with his production, and whether that means they're going to alter what they do defensively, who knows that? But the more weapons you have, the more able you are to attack the defense, and that's certainly the objective of this move.
Is that kind of what you guys were lacking, you think, and why you went? One of the reasons why you went out and made this move?
Again, you're always trying to improve your team every way that you can, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. You can do it in the draft, you can do it in free agency, you can do it by trade, and you can do it any time of the year. And we just felt like Amar's the kind of guy that we really like coming out of school. We've liked what he's done in pro football. We think he can help our football team.
Oh, we've asked you a lot about him. What have you seen in Gallup's development over these last two games, and how is he progressing from where he was to start the season?
Michael too loves football, and you can see that every day in everything he does. His approach is outstanding, and he's learning. He's learning as he goes. He's learning with experience. He's done some good things up to this point this season, and like you said, I think he's responded well the last couple weeks. There were a couple plays in that Houston game that he'd love to have back, but I think he learned from those experiences, has practiced well, and been very productive in the games the last couple weeks. So we're excited about where he is and where his progress is.
Been a lot of change in the receiving core over the last 6 months or so. What kind of challenge is that for the coaching staff?
Well, the nature of the NFL is that there's a lot of personnel turnover from year to year, so you certainly have to deal with that. We've had some new faces here that you're trying to get acclimated, but those are exciting challenges to get guys to understand the system and try to fit them in and try to maximize what they can bring to our team and what combination works right, and we'll continue to do that, not only at the receiver position but throughout. That's an exciting part of coaching.
Follow up on Skyler's question, how difficult is that for the quarterback?
Same thing. It's really just about time on task and working together. And the more you can do that, hopefully the better you'll be able to execute. And sometimes you're in situations where you're with the same guys week in and week out, year in and year out. But I think the more we play in the NFL, the more things change in that regard. This idea that you have teams that are together for years and years and years, that's not really the case anymore. And, Dak has such a great way about him. He's got such a great way with people and working with people that, I think he handles this stuff as well as anybody. But the biggest thing is just time on task, practicing together, playing together, learning from those experiences.
Jason, how have you seen DeMarcus Lawrence progress over the last few years? How would you describe his just increased ability and what he's bringing to the table now compared to a few years ago?
Yeah, obviously we really liked DeMarcus coming out of the draft. We felt like he had all the right stuff, and early on in his career, there were some injuries, there were some reasons that he wasn't in the lineup at different times, but whenever he played, he always seemed to do productive, positive things for us. The biggest thing for him was to get healthy and stay healthy and stay in the lineup. And he's been able to do that over the last couple of years, and certainly has been really, really productive. And you've heard me say this before, he's had some really impressive sack numbers. 14 or so last year. Is off to a great start again this year, but he's really a complete defensive lineman. He makes a lot of plays in the running game, tackles for loss. He does his job the right way. He plays with a relentless spirit, and the production follows. But maybe equally important is just the impact he has on his teammates. He's really well respected. His spirit is contagious, and it certainly helps our whole defense and our whole team.
Understanding that all players are human, Tyron has seemed superhuman in the start of his career. Why has he struggled more, it seems, this year than in the past, giving up sacks, penalties, things like that?
Tyron has played at a very high level throughout his career. He has not been a perfect player throughout his career. He's played very well at different times this year, and there have been some times when it hasn't been quite as good, whether it's a protection issue or the penalty. And, what we try to do is you try to look at the specifics of those things and why they happened, and you try to learn from those experiences. But he's an awfully good football player. We're lucky to have him as our left tackle. And what you love about him the most is that he's the one that's bothered most by him not playing at a high level on every snap. And that's what makes him such a great player. He's always driven to be his best, and we'll continue to work with him.
Have there been specifics as far as speed guys around the edge, or has there been a trend that you've seen?
Not necessarily. I think in general we've played better at home than we have on the road. I think in general our offensive line has played better at home than on the road. And, we've talked, a long time about the challenges that you have, with crowd noise and silent counts and all of those kinds of things. That could be a contributing factor. He's played against good guys. At times he's blocked them really, really well, clinic real type stuff. And other times, they've won. So, again, you try to learn from both of those experiences and keep going.
Does the penalties, he doesn't have a ton of them, but considering he's a veteran player, he's been around for a while, does that surprise you more than anything?
He's had penalties throughout his career. Typically, they're the same kind of penalties where he takes a guy to the ground, and that's something that we have to really continue to coach him on, because he has a dominant streak in him where he can physically take a guy to the ground, and oftentimes the officials see the end of those plays. There have been penalties that certainly are very legitimate, but that's certainly something that we have to get better at. Across our offensive line, some of those penalties can really hurt you and back you up and put you behind the chains and really limit your scoring opportunities.
Jason, in the last few years, when Sean Lee has not been on the field for series or games, it's been a huge drop-off. This year, when you're self-scouting now during this bye and looking, what has the gap been like when he's not on the field for those series and for the few games that he's missed?
I think we've just handled that much better than we have in the past, and I think it can go to the development of Jason Smith, how he's grown as a player, how he's healthier now. I just think he's different than where he was last year, and I would say the same thing with the contributions of Leighton Vander Esch. We really like Leighton coming out of school. Obviously drafted him in the first round, and he's really transitioned well. So when Sean hasn't been able to play, those two guys have really done a good job. They haven't been perfect, but they've certainly done a lot of positive things and played at a fairly high level. And then when you add Sean back into it, he just continues to play the way we want him to play and at a very high level as well. So that combination of those guys has really shored up our linebacking core, and they've done a really nice job up to this point.
Have Dak and Amari worked anything out where they'll get together before y'all get together as a team again next week?
Yeah, I know they're talking about what their plans are for the weekend. They had a good day together yesterday, and hopefully we'll have another good one today.
When are players due back in?
The players will be back in on Wednesday of next week because we play the Monday night game. Just push it back by a day.
What is your message? That's obviously a long gap with the Monday night game. What's your message to them as they leave the building today?
By league rule, the players have to be off for 4 straight days, and then because of the Monday night game, we're going to give them that extra day. Do anticipate a lot of guys being back in the building on Tuesday, treating that like a regular Monday, if you can follow all that. The message is the same. Have 2 good days of practice. We had a good day yesterday. Need to come back today and have another good day. Then get away from it. Get recharged, get refreshed, and come back recommitted, ready to go. And one of the messages we always have for our team is your life is about what you do today going forward. You learn from your past experiences, but everything that we want is in front of us, and we have to take it day by day, step by step, and come back ready to work. And this group has been outstanding in that regard, and so the important thing is for them to get away from it, use this bye week to get refreshed, do a little active relaxation when they're away, and then come back ready to go.
Do you have any update on Randy Gregory?
He had a scope a couple days ago, and he's rehabbing his knee right now. Did not practice yesterday, will not practice today.
How well do you think he's played, and just how do you think he's done up to this point in the season?
I think Randy's done a lot of good things. If you think about where he is in his career, he hasn't played a lot of football at this level, and he missed some time, obviously, over the last couple of years. And so I think each experience is new for him and unique for him, and he's done a lot of really positive things. He certainly has to get better. His game a couple weeks ago was as good a game as he's played for us. He shows up as a pass rusher and showing up more and more in the running game. So he'll continue to get more snaps with us, and I think he'll benefit from those experiences.
The 2 guys you're bringing in for workouts today, I believe, a result of Goodwin's injury, or
yeah, Goodwin has done a really good job for us the last couple of weeks, and unfortunately, on that tackle that he made, he broke a bone in his arm. So we'll see what his status is going forward and what that timetable will be. So, wanted to bring a couple of guys in to see if they fit that role for us.
Thank you.
All right, good to see you guys.